Yesterday, there was a session on cloud computing, and we've got some of the panelists from that session here to tell us what were the highlights, what were some of the challenges going forward for the industry. And joining us to discuss these issues are Mary Knox. She is the research director at Gartner. She was actually the moderator of that session yesterday. Leonard Hardy is an SVP and chief architect at Northern Trust. Also with us, Bill Pappas, Bank of America CIO for Global Wholesale Banking Technology and Operations. And Patrick Mays is a GM Technology Strategy and Enterprise Architecture, and he's also the Chief Technology Officer at ANZ. Guys, thanks very much for coming in. So Mary, you were the lady in control. You kicked the whole thing off yesterday. Tell us about your session. What were some of the key things that came up?
One of the things we really wanted to do in this session was share not just the general ideas and concepts and hype around cloud computing, but really share what people are doing, where they're having successes with cloud, the kinds of progressions and things that need to be in place to be able to successfully utilize cloud computing. One of the interesting things is that each of my people on the panel came at somewhat different points of view, and it were different places in terms of how they're using cloud and how that maps into their business strategy. We looked at progressions, for example, from utilization of infrastructure as a service to platform as a service. We also looked in some cases at progression doesn't necessarily hold depending upon the business strategy or business needs. So going into more emerging economies, software as a service may make sense as a way of being able to rapidly bring new capabilities to market. I thought some of the points that were of particular interest to me, given my research focus, were around governance and the governance that needs to be in place, and also the relationship of cloud utilization with architectural approaches around services orientation, for example, how those two really interrelate and play off of each other.
So you got Northern Trust, Bank of America, ANZ. How are you guys using cloud, and what are really the problems that you're finding, and what can you not do that and you want people to start talking about, to start solving, that you're not getting?
So right now Northern Trust is concentrating on private cloud. So we're not in the position right now to embrace public cloud. We're waiting for other players in the field to take a step forward, and we're also waiting for clarity from the regulators in terms of what public cloud is going to be like.
So when you say you're not in the position, you're wanting to wait till other people try it and you see what their learning curve is, and then you might think, maybe we'll spend the money to do that. We don't want to be the first ones in.
From a public cloud perspective, yes, we're very active in a private cloud situation today.
Okay.
For us, we actually private cloud. One of the things that is interesting with Bank of America, the size and the scale, we believe that we can get tremendous amount of benefits as you're going to get out of the public, but internally. And when you look at the environment, there's a couple of things that we're concerned that we're not ready to go out there. We talked about governance. We talked about this is an area that is not regulated yet. We talked about security and privacy issue for being able to be to go public, and we talked about data access, but also data movement, and we don't feel that we have the right controls or we have enough experience yet in the market to be able to do that. And for the size and the scale of the Bank of America, we feel that we can do all of this, reduce the cost, get the agility around scale that you need in-house before you go out there.
We have, at the ANZ, we have adopted a limited usage of cloud, including public cloud, especially for client, investors, and employee-facing functions. ANZ is operating in 35 countries. Some of these franchises are pretty young, so we need a flexibility, agility to grow these businesses as fast as we can. Having said that, we have strict controls in place, which is our cloud policy, which excludes the usage of cloud for very mission-critical applications such as finance, corporate risk, account keeping, and general ledger.
So you've dipped your toe, if you like, into the public cloud water. For Northern Trust, who is thinking about doing this, what do you know now? What were some of the hard lessons learned at ANZ that maybe he could benefit from?
I think the first lesson we learned is the maturity of the providers, and especially designing the cloud solution, because the cloud doesn't exist on its own, it must be integrated with the corporate world. And how do you do that integration? I think not a lot of cloud providers have that maturity in place. The secondly is the contractual aspects in terms of not that many cloud providers, they provide liabilities for data loss or fraud, or they give guaranteed service levels. If you operate in a financial services sector, you need these guarantees in place. So it's a contractual negotiation that takes always a very long time.
What kind of money are you guys spending to do all of this, and what kind of budgets are in place in banks at the moment?
Excuse me, we are really just getting started from a platform as a service perspective. That's going to kick off probably next year in terms of a proof of concept. So we haven't proven out any of the technology yet. There's no clear leader from our perspective in offerings from different vendors. So we haven't really set a production budget yet because we're still in the proof of concept phases. We're going to run a couple of different proof of concepts using a couple of different vendors and see how that plays out.
For us, I mean, we're concentrating at the beginning more on the infrastructure as a service. We had experience over the last 6 or 7 months of being able to utilize that and really capitalizing some of the benefits of that. And we are in the process of being able to start designing the platform as a service. We're talking about the middleware, the databases, and the OS benefits that we're going to be able to get through these. Again, I'll go back and say for us, given the size and the scale, this is a part of our core strategy going forward. We see this as a way to be able to really reduce and standardize some of those processes. So it is going to be able, I cannot give you the number, but it's definitely going to be a part of our core strategy going forward in the way we're going to operate within the company.
Are we talking millions or billions?
Something between that.
Something between millions
Something
and
between
billions.
that.
Okay.
Yes, similar. It means we have been on that roadmap of infrastructure as a service for many years now, and currently we're offering private cloud solutions for Unix, Microsoft. We're installing the vBlocks currently, and all type of productivity tools for our employees. And indeed, these investments are very significant. I can't quote a number, of course, but of course, the payback is also very relevant too in terms of, for instance, 80% of our servers are now virtualized. It gives only on power a 50% power cost reduction, which is very significant.
For all of these guys, and Mary, you chip in as well. I mean, when you make these millions to billions investment and you say the payback is great, over what kind of time frame are you going to get this payback? Or a lot of the players can expect a return on investment.
That's going to vary significantly based upon what the business case is. I think it's hard to make a generalization there, but part of that also then reflects the requirement to really understand what the business reason is for pursuing cloud to be able to first justify that investment in the first place.
I would look at it, this is an evolution. So I look at what is the benefit you can get around infrastructure as a service. It's kind of the foundation that you need to put there. As soon as you get that piece, then you're moving to the platform as a service. Then you're going to be able to get another big, not only cost reduction, but also flexibility and standardization across. And then you're going to move and talk about the software, which is, in my case, something that we are still not even looking in terms of how we design. So it's an evolution and it's a stair step to be able to just really get the benefits and then you add it on it.
I would add to this that beside the cost, which is I think the first benefit you get if you go up the stack for infrastructure is a cost reduction, it's time to market. And cloud provide you, the private and public cloud provide you the capability to offer your products much quicker and in a much more compelling way, especially if you're targeting the gen clients. And the time to market is very crucial for any financial institution.
And the other thing that you just talked about, and we spoke a lot about public versus private. And I think that merits even more discussion. Public or private, when you have the size and the scale, it is a safer, more controlled environment to be able to get the benefits. When you talk about public, a lot of the discussion that we had yesterday, it's not proven yet. There is so much more to be learned, and I was very intrigued with some of the stuff they're doing in ANZ in terms of can you do that in a scale? Do we have enough proof? Is the regulators comfortable enough to even being able to put standards out there for us to be able to operate? I don't see that. I don't see that for the next 4 to 5 years. So, well, the benefits is there. If you have scale, you can do it yourself. Otherwise, we talked a lot about the financial services community public clouds. Another way of being able to just, for a regional or smaller bank, to be able to get those benefits, well, they're learning through some of the key research studies out there.
I see a lot of the benefits, I think, like Patrick mentioned, in time to market, especially with infrastructure as a service and how you can automatically and very, very quickly provision environments. Things that might have taken 4 to 6 weeks to get established in the old world could take, an hour or 2 hours. So it's a productivity benefit for the employees and the developers, and it's a time to market benefit for the business.
Let me ask you this, because we've talked a lot about the business side, and let's bring it to the point of view of the customer. As we've been talking, how can this cloud actually help the customer? So take us through the customer journey, if you like, of the cloud experience for them through Northern Trust or Bank of America or ANZ. Just give us a few examples so it crystallizes it and humanizes it for everybody.
So from my perspective, one of the key tenets of cloud is automated elasticity. So that means that you have a capacity that happens on demand. So from a client's perspective, in peak business times, trade rebalances, anything like that, they don't notice anything from a response time perspective because you have an SLA in place, and the platform as a service software takes care of the automatic elasticity and the scaling of the environment for that client.
For us, I would say cheaper, faster, and scalable. A lot of the stuff that we do, at least within the treasury area, those are commodity products. You can differentiate either by being able to service the client better or by reducing your unit cost. So when I look at cloud, it will provide that flexibility from a price perspective, but also it will provide the scalability and the agility that you need that you may not get it today within the current environment.
So our motto at ANZ is we live in your world. And we see the future of our bank more than just selling products. We want to be deeply involved in the important events of our customers in whatever generation we're talking about. And that means that almost the same as institutional banking, you bundle products with services and advice. Now, not all these services will be provided by the bank. If you, for instance, provide a travel service, we can do the travel court, we can do the insurance, but somebody else will do the travel planning. We want to build these ecosystems. And the only way you can build these ecosystems and provide holistic service to the customer is to have these partners in your ecosystem. And the only way you can do that is having a cloud type architecture in place. And therefore cloud is very important in our customer-centric journey.
Okay, well, thanks to all of you for joining us. It was very interesting. Thanks for coming on Sibos TV and sharing your time with us.